All right, let's check this out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are 12 months in with 12 more months
12 more months to go, dude. That's crazy.
to go. I have over 600 hours
Maybe it's just on my screen, but it looks like there's a black bar underneath.
in PGA Tour 2K25, so I figured now is the best time to create a wish list video for what we want improved and what we want added moving into the next iteration of their golf game, PGA Tour 2K27. Now, a couple of things before we start the video. Number one, I am not a course designer, so we're not going to do any course designer critiques or updates or any suggestions in this video. There's
Same thing I did.
other great content creators that will probably be better for that. Number two, HB did an awesome job with kind of moving from PGA Tour 2K23 to 2K25.
I will disagree with him there 100%. I mean, I think they did a good job. I think they did a good job moving from 23 to 25 in the first, 4 days that the game was out.
I created this exact video for the game we're playing right now, and there was like 50 or 60% of the things that I had recommended that they either directly addressed or kind of neutrally addressed in that. So I give them kudos for that. I think they made a fantastic golf game with 2K25, but my brain immediately goes to, look, I don't want to play a great golf game. I want to play the best golf game I've ever played.
Yeah.
And there are some things within this game that they easily can improve, in my opinion. And there's some stuff I think they can add to make arguably one of the best sports games on the market. And that's what the goal of this video is. So sit back, enjoy, and let's hop in. All right, the first thing here is the gameplay. Now, when I talk about gameplay here, it's mainly focusing on the experience on the course. And there are a number of items that will impact this, and we'll talk about most of them now, and there'll be a few other ones that we'll kind of bring up as we go through the video. But I think generally, I appreciate the fact that they took a different path to creating the new swing. It's refreshing,
I agree.
It's new. And, they didn't reinvent the wheel necessarily, but they definitely took a different approach.
It is a crossover. I agree with them. I actually do enjoy the Evo swing. I know that's kind of a hot button topic for a lot of people who are diehards of the game, but I like the Evo swing change.
From what we've been used to over the past, 15 to 20 years in the video game golf swing. That being said, I think because they made so many changes, especially adding the bias, I think they got a little cautious with the swing difficulty.
I agree.
And I think that's something they're going to have to address as we move into 2K27.
Which I don't think they will. I mean, I think they'll definitely adjust it some, but I don't think they're going to do anything really in form of difficulty. I mean, they may add some things into difficulty, but I think the putting needs to be 100% more difficult.
Because I think that a lot of the retention problems they had was the fact that the swing was just simply too easy.
Rhythm should affect push-pull instead of power. That's why they went to the Evo swing, is to get rid of that. I don't think that's ever coming back, ever. Because that's why they moved to this, was to remove rhythm affecting whether you pull or push. Because then that's just 2K23.
Especially from pro and above, and the people that are going to be dedicated.
Now, I think that they can do with rhythm, in form of rhythm. When you miss your rhythm, I think that your pushes and pulls on your actual Evo swing should be greater. Much greater than what they are now. So, like, if you miss your points, the rhythm should make you fucking miss it by even more. But they're not. I highly doubt they're going to go back to 2K23.
To their game. So the first thing they need to do is address the zones for the perfect swing path and perfect contact. These zones are not only too large, in my opinion, but the main issue is that they are the same size no matter which difficulty you choose.
Yes.
These zones need
Which
to
is
get
bad.
smaller as you progress the difficulty.
Yeah.
So an example here, and what I think they should do, is just add an additional option to the difficulty menu. Have 4 options that you allow people to choose from. That way they can also decide how it's played in their societies. But here's how it would work. You'd have 4 options. You would have full, half, quarter, and none. And then these would correspond to the different difficulties.
I love this idea, but I just don't think that they're going to do it. I do really like this idea. If anything, it would be, we would have to push them, I think, to do this just as this master Masters this, Legend is none, you know. This adds in a level of randomness, though, that I don't know if people will enjoy.
So, of course, full would be basically pro.
I think there needs to be another difficulty option. Like, you know, this amateur, good, pro, master, maybe even like this way, where it's like perfect swing and amateur, or maybe this is pro, this is master, this is legend, and then there's another one that's just sim difficulty, where, you know, you have that like level of a little bit of randomness.
Pro-am and less. Pro would be half, master would be quarter, and then legend would be none. I think this would be a huge boost to the current swing situation because you're already penalizing a lot more on the outside of those zones. But the fact that those zones are so large, even up to legend, it just doesn't bring the type of difficulty that those folks.
I think a sim difficulty would be great because, like, a sim difficulty, you add in that little bit of like randomness to it because you're playing on sim. Like, you're never gonna have like the perfect shot. You know, it may end up that the outcome is great, but like getting like the perfect shot is
Folks are looking for.
not something that happens.
All right, next is the power meter. And more specifically, it's actually the power meter in the short game. So there's a weird ratio that they have here, and on full swings,
Me and him actually, he talked about this with me, and before this video was even made, like we were talking about it, and dude, the short game is actually, I don't know, I'm sure he'll give his idea of what they could do, maybe, but I don't know how they fix it. It's a fucking mess, dude. He'll probably go over it. It is an absolute mess.
it's not really a big deal. But within the short game, this ratio gets really back weighted, and it affects
bad.
the feel and really just the look of the animation to the power ratio when you're hitting your putts and your chips. How this works.
I think the only way that they can fix what he's about to talk about, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, is you do the power and everything, and then the animation just plays after it. I think that's the only way to like truly fix it.
In this game is when you see a power percentage, it's not actually a power percentage in
It's
relation
not.
to distance.
It's not.
It's a percentage in relation to how much of the swing animation you need to use
Yeah.
to hit a certain distance.
Yeah.
When you get into the short game, this is where this becomes a big, big problem. And this is honestly a problem I have with the game. I've never really liked the putting in this game, and I've always kind of wondered why.
It's
felt so
always
off.
been
It
kind
always
of
felt like
bad.
Your swings were so much longer than the distance your putts would go. Well, after I did some digging, I found out that this is probably why. If you're on 82 speed greens and you hit, your front half of your swing, it only goes 7 feet.
Yeah.
So you have to.
So this is what he talked about. He gave me like a word spreadsheet essentially of like this. And this is, I've never thought about this, but this is bad. 8% of power goes 7 feet, and then the rest of it is up to your 82.
Swing 50% of your animation to get 7 feet. And then the rest of the power.
Think about that. So if you pull your putter all the way back to 100, right? So you pull your putter all the way back to 100. If you do 50% of that 100% swing, the fucking ball goes 7 feet. That's wild. They need to find some medium between a true 1-to-1 power meter and one where every partial swing is the same thing. I agree. I feel like they kind of had the solution in like TGC 1 and 2. I always thought that the putting felt really good in those games. Maybe that's just cope, though. I don't know. But this is wild. He was showing me this, and it's like, dude, what? You're telling me 50% of your animation swing is 7 feet that it goes? Yeah, 2019 I feel like felt better too. I think it's what happened was they sped the swing up to match, because that's one thing that people gave them feedback on, is that the swing felt too slow. It felt clunky. So they ended up speeding up the animations to try to solve that problem where it didn't feel as clunky, and it turned into another problem for them, which is the short game still feels clunky, but it's just now for a different reason. And I think that going back to the slower swing, honestly, I think the slower swing clunkiness felt 100 times better than the fast swing clunkiness that we have. Oh no, 2K25's done, Tej. Like it's over. There's not. This is a 2K27 wish list. 2K25, nothing will happen with this game with 2K25.
From 7 to 82 is in the back half of your swing.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then when you compare it to the fastest greens that we play on, the ultra fast 251, you'll see that it is even worse because the first half of the swing covers 21 feet and the second half of the swing covers from 22 feet up to 251 feet.
Which is
so
wild.
This ratio it absolutely needs to be readdressed. Like they have to figure something out here.
Yeah.
It makes it feel so terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe start at doubling it. Go to 1585, see how that feels and looks. Maybe go to 8020, see
and
how
it's the
that
same
looks.
thing with chipping
maybe
too.
You go to 2575, see how that looks and feels. But I think this is one of the main reasons that the short game doesn't feel or look good. It just doesn't match up, in my opinion.
100%.
All right, next on the gameplay side is transition. Simply put, the partials are way too easy to execute in this game, and they're such a vital part of golf that you can't just hit them 90% of the time. That's kind of how it feels. I mean, it gets to the point where I can almost hit them at will at times, and that doesn't make any sense because my player has...
I will say, on Legend, partials are a lot harder. On Pro and Master, though, partials are actually not that hard to execute. I agree. Legend, completely different fucking ballgame.
57 transition stat. So they have to do something in 2K26.
That is another point. You don't put, like, for your actual clubs, I put all of my transition in my putting, because on my putting, it is still pretty easy. I agree, but it is a lot harder than, like, Master or Pro. Transition really only matters for me on putting. That's where I put all of my transition points into.
7, where this stat matters more, and that way you have to actually invest.
All of the stats need to matter more, honestly, because I think they all don't fucking do enough. He'll probably go over it.
Invest in this stat to be able to do what I'm doing here with my player.
Automatic.
All right, next.
I know I'm going to disagree with him here. I already know I'm going to disagree with him here. I already know. Unless he's changed his mind. I already know I'm going to disagree.
Is the rough penalization in this game is just not enough, especially the heavy rough. The light rough, fine. But the heavy rough, the ceiling on the heavy rough lies are way too high.
This is where I'm going to disagree. On most courses, 95% of courses, heavy rough, it doesn't affect your distance as much as people think. Like, unless you're getting into some really deep shit, the heavy rough just isn't as penalizing as people think that it should be. Like, you're not clubbing up 2 times, to hit out of heavy rough. Unless, again, you're playing in, like, the heaviest of shit. But most courses, it doesn't affect you as much as you think it might.
And the window is way too narrow, especially when you bring into the fact that they...
Which is also why I kind of think that the recovery stat is bullshit. I mean, he is pointing out the recovery stat means nothing in this game. Like, we tested this. With 60 recovery and 99 recovery, it shortens your window by like 3%. Sure, yeah, like wind, that's a completely different scenario for sure, because again, you are not going to be able to get as much like spin on the ball and shit like that. So like it does, there is an effect that happens in different scenarios, but I'm just talking like a straight like distance, unless you're playing at places like fucking Oakmont or Whistling Straits or something like that, or like tournament level courses that design their rough, they bring in certain rough to actually like affect it. I don't think distance should be the key factor for your recovery stat. I think it should be like, the 84 to like 96, I think that's fine. I think that's actually completely fine. Maybe you can do like an 84 to 105, like get a flyer of some sort maybe, or make it so that your points are a lot harder to hit out of the heavy rough. Like that might be fine too. Like an inaccuracy, sure. They have a whole archetyped around. It improves the low end of your live range by maybe. Yeah, when we tested it, because I did it on stream, I did the lowest form. I did 60. I did 60 recovery and 99 recovery, and I think it raised my floor up 5 points, and it actually squished the top more often than it didn't, because it's essentially giving you a tighter window to show you what your actual power is going to be. But like you can figure that out without getting the extra 7% or whatever you get with everything getting squished. The recovery stat means nothing. And they have a whole archetype surrounded around it, which it makes it, again, it comes back to that, like the testing thing and like getting everything around. Like,
have a recovery stat, and that recovery stat should be impacting this, right? It should be increasing
I think recovery stat should impact your accuracy.
The ceiling for players that have a high recovery stat, and it should be narrowing that window down for players that have a high recovery stat. And it does do that. But the difference between a 60 recovery stat and a 99 recovery stat is minimal.
Minimal.
And honestly, the fact that the rough in this game, again, the heavy rough mainly, is not very penalizing.
See, this is where we disagree. We've had this conversation multiple times, me and Simo. And I think he's coming from like a point of like the game, like a game, like playing from a game standpoint, which I completely agree. But in the game of golf, heavy rough does not do as much as people think that it does. It definitely should impact accuracy. I agree with it. I think that's a good middle ground because, and maybe people won't notice it or anything. Like, I think it comes down to designer tools as well. Like designers able to set rough how they want to set rough. Because on most of the official courses that are in this game, this is probably a correct heavy rough lie. Just because, again, unless you're playing at very specific courses, heavy rough just doesn't do as much as people think it does distance-wise.
There's no incentive to even invest in this.
There is zero. Yeah, look at this. 9%. Okay, what was it before? Yeah. 13%. It's a different course, right? And like this is rough, like this specific shot here. Now this is rough where it should affect your distance. Great. You are swinging it through a fucking unmowed field, my guy. Like this is definitely something where the rough should affect distance because you are hacking it. You're hacking your club. You're hacking your ball through fucking 5-foot tall weeds. Like this should definitely be something that affects distance, but the game doesn't have something that distinguishes them. And also like 13% to 9%. Like that's fucking nothing.
Rough in this game, again, the heavy rough mainly is not very penalizing. There's no incentive to even invest in this attribute.
Now that is actually a fair assessment, T-Money, because yes, on a shorter swing, the rough will actually impact it a little bit more. That's for sure. Because taking a full swing, you essentially can cut through all of that. But when you're taking something of like a shorter half swing or something, then yes, that is something that could potentially affect it a little bit more.
Or even in the recovery shot type as well. Like both of those are basically worthless because this game just has extremely under penalizing heavy rough. So that's something that they have to reevaluate. They have to get in here and like I said, in my opinion, they got to lower the ceiling for these and they got to widen the windows.
I don't agree with the lower the ceiling.
Attribute is extremely low here. Now, the second part of the rough conversation is the
Now, there is something to be said, though, about lower recovery stat does lower the window. There is something to be said there. You know, if you're worse out of the rough, then yeah, a lower stat maybe should bring your distancing down and stuff like that because, you know, technically you're worse out of the rough. Yeah, I don't know how they balance that, but I think a good starting point would be shrinking all of the zones when you're in the rough. The higher your recovery, the more that you can get back. So like if you, let's say you have your 99 contact, 99 swing path, and like this is the fucking area that you have. If your recovery stat's 99, you stay there. if your recovery stat's 60, your accuracy shrinks by 40%.
Long grass or fescue that is all over a lot of these courses.
Yeah, this stuff needs to change. Like they just don't have a distinguishing marker for this type of grass type in the game
that we play, but the game treats it exactly the same as just standard heavy rough. So I think that they have to create a new category.
I agree.
For this longer grass.
Instead of heavy rough, it just needs to be bush or something like that. And I'm not, thick bush, like 1970s bush. You know what I'm saying? Like it needs to be, they need to make another category for that.
And it has to be way more penalizing than it already is.
And that I agree with.
The last part I'll throw in here, I would absolutely love if they would add flyer lies into the algorithm. So occasionally,
I think a flyer lie would be good.
You would have
cool
lies
too.
that were like 101%,
yeah,
102%, 103%.
I actually like that. I like that idea.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean they happen in real life, so I think it'd be. It comes back to it's the difference between real life and game. Like game wise, it would make sense to make your heavy rough play where you have to club up like 4 times, 3 or 4 times. Like that would make sense game wise. Real life wise though, it comes back to heavy rough doesn't affect distancing as much as people think it is. It does. Now, again, if you have a lower recovery stat, then I can see a reasoning for distance to be punished more. But I do think that there needs to be more options for rough in general. Like bushes, fescue, long grass, stuff like that. Like having it still be a 95%. But that's something that can be added.
Okay, next is going to be rhythm. I think rhythm misses aren't impactful enough. And look, I know why they simplified this, because this could also bring about a ton of frustrations for people because of different platforms and different controllers, and especially once you get up to the higher difficulties, like we're talking about milliseconds of difference in tempo and how swings could feel the same but do different things. So, like, I understand it.
So, okay, you said rhythm not affecting push-pull never made sense to me. It's because you have to think of it as at a game sense. So a big sticking point in this entire series, what's always been a big sticking point in this entire series, is how much each console plays different from each other. PC, PlayStation, and Xbox played wildly different from each other, and it's because of those specific consoles and polling rates on controllers. So people would go back and forth between systems. Like there was a huge exodus to PlayStation in PGA 2019 because on PlayStation, it was found that the rhythm was actually a lot easier to hit than any of the other consoles. So like a lot of people moved over to PlayStation. And that's something that has been fluctuating for every single game that's released. So that was a big sticking point, is people on like Xbox, it's always been Xbox usually, they would be at a disadvantage to everybody else because the rhythm for them was harder to hit. So they would always, while everybody else on PC and on PlayStation, they were always, just like miles better than the people on Xbox. It was because of that fact. So like what the Evo swing brought in was taking rhythm away from your push and pulls, which then made all of the consoles a little bit more in line for crossplay. So like I get why they did it, and I agree with it. I know a lot of people won't agree with that. A lot of people want rhythm back. I hope it never comes back to where it was, because again, that just it recreates the problem that everybody fucking hated. But what I think he is going to say is, I think rhythm should be more punishing in one way or another, because right now it's mainly just power that it does, but it also makes your pulls and your pushes, it does make them a little bit more, but I think that there needs to be more of a discrepancy, especially at higher difficulty settings.
From their point of view, but I also feel like, again, this was something that was overcorrected, and they basically just took most, if not all, of the penalization out of missing rhythm, especially on swings.
Except in the short game. Rhythm in the short game can fuck you so hard. So unbelievably hard.
So what I would love for them to do is reintroduce a
You did have feedback on rhythm. That's what fast and slows were.
large penalty for missing rhythm.
Again, here's the thing. I'm going to disagree with Seamount. If you bring back a large penalty for rhythm, it's going to create the same problem that we were in the Golf Club 1, 2, 2019, and 2K23. It literally just reintroduces the same problem that they tried to solve for. I think that there does need to be a better middle ground, but you can't bring it back to the extremes, because it just brings back the same problems that HB tried to solve for in the first place.
I think they can do two of these things and they can just make them toggles. But the first thing is I would love for them on extreme rhythm slow, extreme rhythm fast misses.
Those don't happen that often, though. That's the other thing.
You make slow misses be chunked or fatted.
This is something that I also would like to see, but I just don't know if it will, just because it's like, for us golf nerds, we've always wanted like realism, but then there's also the other side where it's like the ultimate power fantasy. I don't know if there's a middle ground there, but this series has definitely moved more towards like the ultimate power fantasy. So if you add in like chunks, even though they happen in real life, chunks and, worm burners and like all of that stuff, it's like, how much will the majority of the player base actually enjoy that? Now, you could add something like that in, like, again, like a legend or a sim difficulty, but then it comes back to the question of, well, if we're doing it just for legend, how much of the player base are we actually creating this for? Are we creating a system just for, 1% of players?
When you hit them, so club hits ground first type stuff. And then on fast rhythm misses, like extremely.
It comes back to this. It's like the worm burners and stuff. It's like, they do happen in real life for sure. And even pros do chunk shit. Like, it happens. Like, it's golf. It is a game of fucking centimeters. Like, if you're just off a little bit, if you dip your shoulder a fucking inch, like, it could turn into a chunk. And it's like, that stuff does happen in real life, but it's like, how much of the player base would actually enjoy that? I think all misses in general should have greater distance control penalties. I agree with that too. I think that especially at higher difficulties, like distance penalties and stuff for like closes and slows and all that, I think it could be a little bit greater. I agree. I think I've said this since like PGA 2019, that I feel all of the answers lie in difficulty. We're never I don't think we'll ever have a swing type that like everybody is going to enjoy. But I think that you can add in different difficulty options, which will create an experience for everybody.
Fast rhythm misses, then you have bladed or, thinned shots. Especially
like this stuff happens. This stuff happens all the time in real life. For pros.
On like chips and splash shots and pick shots and those sorts. The second part of this is I think they should just reinstitute the hook and slice penalty.
No. No. I don't want it. I don't want it back. Dude, it plagued the game for fucking iterations, man. There was a whole like 10 months of red fast meta. Like, I do not want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to such a large discrepancy across the consoles that people feel like they need to go out and get a fucking PlayStation to compete. I just don't want that again. It wasn't good, and bringing it back I don't think helps anybody.
Side spin. Fast rhythm, you get a hook, and on slow rhythms, you would get a slice spin for penalties. And I think, again, how you...
This literally just brings back to what the game used to be. I know a lot of... There are a subset of people who want that, but I don't think it is good for the game's health.
Add these into the game is
you could introduce a setting in difficulty. Like I said, everything can lie in the difficulty settings for sure.
Make them both toggles.
Yeah.
You let players decide if they want to have these
You could make difficulty settings, and then it comes back to who are you making this for, and is it worthy enough to put resources in? But I agree. I think everything can always be found in the difficulty settings.
Penalizations for rhythm. That way they can run their societies the way they.
And also, having a hook slice rhythm penalty, I don't know how much they've changed from where it was in 2K23, but like it was already in the game. I don't know how hard it would be to implement it back into the game. Maybe that's something that could be easier just because it was the old system. They're not like that far removed from it.
They want in their matches. Maybe you keep pro with neither, and then maybe master you have the chunk and the thinned option on, and then on legend maybe you put both of them on. Okay, next, this is more of a smaller thing, but I do think it needs to be addressed.
You're talking about flop shots?
With the bias change with certain shot types. So the example I'll give is I am a draw hitter, and I use the right stick to swing. But when I go to use a flop shot is a...
We actually talked about this with Craig live on stream one night, where it makes sense just the way that the actual physical swing is done in real life, which I understand, but at the same, it comes back to the real life versus game, and like having it be where you could just switch it to left-handed and do a draw bias left-handed to get it on the same side. I think it's just something you should probably just make it both on the same side for everybody. Just make the swing the same for everyone.
Fade swing bias. So I have to, change my thumb and kind of swing differently than my natural draw swing.
Or the opposite. Make it so the left-handed draw play, like if you're left-handed, you're going to have an opposite. If you're right-handed, you're going to have an opposite. I think having it the same for everybody is the play, whatever that same might be. And honestly, I don't mind these getting switched on flops and stuff, because adding a layer of difficulty to harder shots, like we've always asked them to make certain shot types more difficult. Around the green is one of the things that we've said needs to be more difficult. Making it so that the biases are completely switched makes those shots more difficult. But I think that everybody should be on the same playing field.
Now, I get why you do this, because in real life, hitting a flop shot is a fade swing, right? It's outside to in. So, realistically, you're doing everything right.
Yeah.
But I think this is something that you have to look at through a competitive video game lens more than a realism lens, because I think it gets unbalanced when it gets to the competitive side of playing this game, because what ends up happening is you have a lot of people that will just
I can beat Apex with a righty, just to say. I don't need to be lefty to beat Apex, okay?
simply play as left-handed golfers, fade, and then they'll just never have
it on
to
the same
change
side.
their bias when they're hitting flop shots. Now, this can be fixed, I guess, a couple of ways, because maybe just don't make the flop shot so OP, but I think this is something that you should just either A, change by default to where no matter what bias you naturally are, when you choose the flop shot, it changes your bias. Or the second way is, I always lean into this, add a toggle. Put a toggle in the difficulty menu.
I think maybe a little too much in the difficulty menu. I think it's just a decision needs to be made. If they want to keep it for the realism, then that's the decision that they make. If they want to tune it a little bit more for competitive, then that's the decision that they make. And I think they just lay in that bed that they make. I don't think a toggle like just for shot types needs to be done. I actually wouldn't even mind them adding a little bit more difficulty in places. So the flop shot is opposite. Fuck it, make chips the same way. Like I don't mind them adding more difficulty around the green. Honestly,
I don't know, make it a sim or competitive option. Sim would be it just stays the natural way that you have it now, and then competitive is
you can't silence
flops no matter what you start at.
Oh boy, this part's gonna make me crash
All right,
out.
Next on the gameplay docket,
You're smiling because you're gonna make me fucking crash out, Simo?
Now, generally,
is that why you're smiling right now, buddy?
From 23 to 25, but
that's why you're smiling right now.
What's kind of wild with this is that the physics are actually worse today, 12 months later, than they were at launch.
Yeah.
First off, there is a terrible speed boost bug that happens when you land at very shallow landing angles onto the green and onto the fringe. It happens on the fairway too, but it's.
We found out too, it can happen on the fairway, it can happen on rock surface, it can happen on cement, it can happen literally fucking anywhere.
Not as often there. So a lot of times it's just on approach shots. But
See, this one.
way too, but it's not as often there. So a lot of times it's just on approach shots. But it's terrible. It lands and it speeds up and it almost like suction cups to the green and just ice rinks its way all.
And then they released a fucking stinger fairway shot so that it just happens more if you use it.
The way through the green, even uphill. It's very frustrating. It happens frequently and it needs to be addressed. And the
It
unfortunate
happened today with an 8-iron for me.
part is it's been around since May, or
It's actually been around since like fucking ever. It's been around forever, as long as I can remember. But people were sending me clips from fucking 2019. I think it's 2019. Might have been 2K21. They were sending me clips of this that had happened, but it just wasn't as extreme until they added in the more extreme settings.
at least it's been amplified since May.
Yes.
And still has not been addressed with any sort of gameplay update. Next is just, I think,
Thank God it wasn't that long.
better general physics across all terrain types. There's just way too many situations now. And again, this is why
I will give some credit though in the form of physics. I do think that the physics did improve from 2K23, except for the bugs that are in the game now. But overall, I think that the physics did improve. I think at the launch of the game, before they added in the extremely firm and extremely fast, even things like the fringe and the fairway were a lot stickier around the green too. And another thing that they did good was rough isn't as bouncy. Like that is something that I have asked for a long time, for rough to actually grab your ball instead of it like it used to be. If you hit it into the heavy rough, like it would bounce fucking 75 feet in the air and get back into the fairway. Like now it's not as much. The rough is definitely a lot less bouncy in 2K25. So there are a lot of things, plug lies and stuff like that too. There are a lot of things that I think that they definitely improved on the physics engine.
I think the physics are even worse now than they were at launch.
I think it is still too bouncy overall as well, but I also think that that's something that should be a designer decision as well. Like designers should be really able to. I think they have some tools now to make rough a little bit less bouncy, I believe. But I do think that especially in some instances, like this, right? Like if I'm hitting it over into this, like this shouldn't be bouncing. This is heavy rough with like heavy weed covering over it. Like it should be something that definitely hits and just fucking vanishes.
Because I just don't remember running into this while I was in Scottsdale during pre-launch.
Yeah, that's the other thing. All of us who went to Scottsdale have talked about this as well. The game played fundamentally different from Scottsdale to now. Like, I don't know what it may have just been with the extremely firm and the extremely fast. Like it could have just been with that. It played so different.
Launch cycle and then close to launch. It just feels like once they started adjusting, there was a bug in the putting speed and everything they fixed.
Yeah.
I think it was month 2 they fixed that, and
Yeah.
then in month 4 they updated and they added the.
Look, I just want more support for the current game. I think that's what it all boils down to. Is like I just want more support for the current game. This one felt bad. 2K25 felt bad. It felt really bad. Like it was just it. I think May was the last gameplay update. Yeah, 2K25 just felt really bad. 2K23 felt bad at launch just because of what was missing out of the game. 2K25 felt really good at launch, but then, 2K needs to make money. So, like, all of those changes kind of, like, sucked the enjoyment out of the game a little bit. And then those things got patched up and made better, but then other things got worse as they introduced new things, and then the game was just kind of left. I think it comes down to just, I want more support for the current game that they're on. I understand that they have to... look, smaller dev team, right? You have to move on eventually to the next game if you're going to want to do the things that you want to do for the next game. But maybe they don't have it, but I feel like they have to have at least some resources to just support the current game that you're on a little bit more than what they did.
Yeah, the very fast and ultra fast green speeds, and it just felt like the combination of whatever they did there under the hood kind of brought the physics back to closer to two.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they are. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're probably gonna fix like the physics bug and shit, you know, for 2K27. Like, I'm sure it's gonna be completely different. I'm sure they're gonna have that patched up and done for 2K27, and that's great. I'm glad that they'll have like hopefully all of this stuff like patched up for 2K27, and they're hard at work on 2K27. But it's like you can't have a 2-year cycle and leave your most diehard player base with a game that is like fundamentally, I mean, I think so, at least fundamentally worse than where it was at launch. Like, that doesn't feel good, like as like a dedicated player base of the game. Like, that doesn't feel great.
K23, and there's just too many situations where you hit approach shots and they come to rest on the green on orange and red slopes. It is extremely frustrating. And again, I don't know enough to know under the hood stuff as to why this happens, but
It's a 2-year cycle of gameplay support of a 1-year cycle. Honestly, less. But it all comes down to, I don't know how big the team is. I don't know how many resources they have. Like, I don't know what type of support 2K gives. You know, like, there's probably a lot of like behind the scenes things that I just don't know. I look at it from the point of a consumer. You know, I understand a little bit more than a lot of other people do about dev side, just because of conversations I've had talking to developers. Like, there's a bunch of fucking politics and shit that you have to also account for too. But from a consumer standpoint, like, not getting the support of the current game that you have to play, you don't have to. Nobody's making me play this game. Putting your most diehard player base into playing a game for 24 months, but only giving support for that game for 3 of those 24 months just doesn't feel that great.
it seems to be
And then being completely silent about it too. Like, not even fucking saying anything. I think that also feels terrible. You know, because like the physics bug, right? This is just an example. Like, the physics bug. Developers were in the stream. I was showing them the physics bug. Like, the day of, maybe the day after, the patch went live. So it's like they were aware of it. And then a bunch of other people, there's like a 2K council thing, the PGA 2K council thing. A bunch of other people were giving 2K a bunch of videos about the bug. It like came back like, oh, we can't recreate it. It's like, what the fuck do you mean you can't recreate it? Like, I was giving 2K videos of the bug for months. Like, if your QA team can't recreate it, you need a new QA team, because I'm telling you how to recreate it. I'm showing you how to do it. Developers are aware of it. So if your QA team can't reproduce it, your QA team is very bad.
Extremely frequent when the ball changes directions.
And I already, it had to have been a thing where it was just probably too much work to put into 2K25 when it was probably something that was going to get fixed for 2K27. But again, that comes back to, I just don't think that's a really good excuse either, because you're leaving your player base with the game for fucking 21 months.
So if it's rolling up a hill and then has to roll down a hill, it feels like as it's transition.
I don't even think that's typical dev shit. I think that's typical publisher shit. Like, I just think that's 2K being 2K. 2K probably has the answer, but they don't want to give the people the answer that they're looking for, or they don't want to give them the answer. They don't want to give them the answer because they know that the answer won't make them happy. So they just come back with, you know, oh, we can't reproduce it. It's like, yeah, you can. Anybody with working thumbs can. I can do it on the practice range. Legitimately. I can recreate the bug on the practice range. Like, if you're telling me your QA team can't reproduce it, boys, you got a real bad QA team.
From rolling one way uphill and then one way downhill, it almost like anchors too much and stops instead of continuously rolling back down. I also just
I agree with it. This is also something that felt better at launch, which is so strange.
Green speed overhaul is probably needed, and I don't really know what the answer.
Sorry, I've been
is,
talking over you a lot,
like
Simo.
maybe a lot of under the hood lifting and just kind of changing things around. But you know, when you go into the designer and you choose, you know, the green speeds that actually match green speeds in real life.
Yeah,
I mean, most
stimp.
PGA events are between 10.5 on the stimp meter to 12, with some of the majors getting upwards of 13 14
yeah.
on the stimp, like
14's
for instance.
Crazy, but
I mean, you can't even play, I don't know, 90% of the.
Another thing that I said, Roddy, I think it would have been the easiest solution, you know, but maybe there was something with St. Andrews that they had to do. They introduced the very firm or extremely firm, extremely fast. We found out that in turn exacerbated a problem within the physics engine. Just take away that thing. Just be like, hey guys, we found that there's a bug in the the update that we put out. We're rolling back to previous version while we, you know, fix this or look for fixes with this. And then if they couldn't find a fix or couldn't get it in for 2K27, at least we wouldn't be in a place where we are now with the physics bug that we have.
Courses that are licensed in this game.
But that comes back to I knew that this was going to turn into a rant video watching the CMO. That comes back to the agile nature. Like, this is something I told 2K reps multiple. 2K and HB need to be more agile. They have to be more agile in the market. I think that there's way too much red tape that's cut through on decisions that are done because, you know, the VC thing at the beginning, like, we told them that the VC thing was going to be a bad idea. We told them that the sentiment for the VC was going to be horrendous and that it was going to be a detriment to the game overall, especially for their most passionate player base of the game. And they said, we have to wait for the data. 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 A month and a half went by, and they finally came back and said, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we fucked up. We're going to meet you in the middle. And it's like, yeah, we told you that a month and a half ago. So then it feels even more of like, oh, we just need to get money. We just need money all up front. And then we'll just fix it later when less people are playing who are spending VC on.
Anything above like a 7 on the stimp meter in regards to how you guys have it set up. And I don't know if it's just adapting it differently, or maybe there's just some other way to go about it, or maybe we're years away.
Maybe their QA team does suck ass. I don't know. I don't know anybody on their QA team, but I don't know. You don't want YouTubers to break your game. Your QA team should break your game, right?
From that really making sense and having enough computing power to have it all work naturally. I don't want to play Oakmont at 90 feet speed greens. I mean, that's just stupid.
It's bad.
I understand that anything above that can be
having
really
a default
tough,
slow
for
is
like
so
more the
bad.
Casual crowd, but I just think you're doing the course a disservice.
I agree.
Because one of the main reasons Oakmont is so popular,
I agree.
the reason why it's such a cool venue,
I hate
is
the
because
defaults
the
to
green
slows,
speeds
man.
are insane, and they always have been. So the fact that you have that thing in ranked and it's on like 94 green speed,
so bad.
I just think that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so something
honestly, I'm surprised Oakmont didn't come back and be like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, the 90 green speed on Oakmont as a default is crazy.
Has to be done. Either those green speeds need to be faster, or you need to figure out a way.
That's the other thing too. Snivy, is, you know, you fix one thing, you break 30 others. Like, I mean, that's just part of development. It's especially a part of development for a game that has been developed on for, you know, however long, fucking 15 years, however long it's been. I'm not saying it's spaghetti code, but I mean, it's still somewhat of a spaghetti code because it's like you're just building on top of a game over and over and over again for different iterations. So there's always that potential of you fix one thing, you fix one bug. I mean, that's how it is in all development. It's just how it is. You fix one thing, fucking 40 other things get broken. Like when I started as software engineering for college, and like I'm talking like I was making like games of Pong, like the most basic level shit that you can think of. And even in that code, dude, if you fix one thing that's wrong, 90 other things down the road get broken. Like that's just kind of how development is.
Physics wise, to realistically have these green speeds be what they should be to represent these courses in a better light and be more realistically PGA.
I agree. I agree with that.
All right, next on the gameplay docket is the putting grids. Now, there's nothing wrong necessarily with the putting grids they currently have, and I love the fact that they finally added a way to make the putting grids smaller.
I agree. I think that was a great change.
Personally, I'd rather have that more be attribute driven And
I also agree
think
with that.
mainly what I want to talk about in this is I want something between the putting grids they currently have and the no grid option, which has been around forever too.
I've always said
I
a
feel
topography.
Like now's the time to bring in something
topo
that's
map.
kind of in the middle of the two. Because for me, at times the putting grids I think are just.
So this is something that I said, I may have said this in my video too. When you get an actual like course book, I don't know how many people have played like nicer courses, but on a nicer course, when you get a course book, it actually comes with a topo map, usually in it for each green, showing you like where the pin is located, where mounds are, like how it's sloping out. It usually comes with all of that. So I think like having something even in the course book to at least give you some information, since you're not physically there standing on the green, being able to like take your steps and actually read the green, having something like in between, having like a topo map, what I think would be really, really good.
Basic and can make the game a touch easier than it probably needs to be. But then you turn off the grids and it's borderline impossible unless
People
you
have
spent tons of time.
People have figured out how to do it.
Like
there are ways that you can do it, but
the time or the patience to do something like that. So what I would love to see is something in between the two. One option I know that I have experienced in video gaming golf.
Yeah, Golf Plus has topo.
Playing VR Golf Plus. They have this really cool kind of heat mapping.
Yeah, they have a heat map topo map.
I'm not sure exactly what you would call it.
Yeah.
But it's a great middle ground because it still gives you an idea of the undulations of the green, but it doesn't give you the exact data that a green grid does, but it gives you more data than no green grid does.
Yeah.
So this is something I would love for them to add in 2K27.
He's gonna say that improve the graphics. I just don't give a fuck about graphics. I know a lot of people hang their head on that, but I could fucking care less. I want a game that plays good.
All right, next is the graphical improvements I want to see. The good news is there's not a whole lot here because we had such a massive jump from 2K23 to 2K25 moving.
Especially Pebble Beach.
But there are a couple of items
I think it looks good too
to focus on as we move into 2K27.
I think it looks good too.
Most notably is going to be just overhauling the lighting model that they're currently using in Unity 6.
It's crazy because didn't they do that for 2K25? I think they updated it through that.
This game can look really, really good at times, but there are still way too many lighting options that make the game look muted,
washed out. I mean, that's true.
Natural.
I mean, clear.
And so I think
and
if
like
able
noon,
to adjust
you know,
and improve the lighting model, this would help greatly, especially in overcast scenarios. Next, I would love to see some sort of dynamic lighting.
Volumetric clouds too could also be nice, where like you know, you might have like two clouds going through and lights actually poking through and shit. You know, that could be also neat.
Where the time of day moves throughout your round. This is something that I also recommended in 2K25.
Yeah, for career mode, I think
so
this would also be good. Dynamic lighting,
as well as dynamic weather. So weather really hasn't been a thing in the 2K golf games. You know, they have rain, but it just doesn't really have.
They had rain, but it didn't do anything.
So if they're able to improve the lighting model, add dynamic lighting, and then add dynamic.
I think it comes back to also having wanting to hit 60 FPS locked.
Weather to this game, that would be amazing, especially if they brought along different conditions. Maybe the ground gets wet, maybe the greens get slow.
Yeah, which would be nice.
Add some
pulling up water and stuff,
and that would actually be really cool too for like career mode.
Yeah,
to add a little more variety.
Yeah, I agree.
And then finally here, I just want more dynamic objects on the course, right? Spinning windmills, running streams and rivers, waves crashing on beaches.
I agree.
Grass waving in the wind. Maybe the flags are waving.
But this also comes back to needing to hit your frame targets as well. Imagine hitting out of a puddle and plat. I mean, fuck it. Could happen in real life.
Waving in the wind. Just more dynamic objects on the course that just add life and personality to the visuals.
I agree. Fans, too. That's the other thing, too. Fans are so stagnant and so bad looking that having, like, actual dynamic fans of some sort would also be kind of cool. Flags moving would also be cool because then you could judge the wind a little bit better. And, like, if you added in, if the flag was bending, like, you could even get a little bit more in the weeds for how the wind is going.
Okay, next, I just want to rapid fire through some general things that didn't have a direct bucket to put them in. The first one is I would love to select all of the course conditions on the practice range because I would love to utilize the practice range more. I think it's actually a great setup in 2K25. I love that you can at least turn off the wind.
Yeah, I just want more options.
I want more options. I want to be able to change the wind direction,
what up, babe?
the speed of the wind. I want to be able to like hit balls into the wind and practice all those things. And then most importantly, I want to go to the putting green and then control how fast the green speeds are.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, how soft or firm the ground is, all those different things. So just like setting up a round.
I agree, Roddy. I think
set
it'd be
up
really
all
cool.
the conditions on the practice range before we join it. All right, next.
I mean, shit, dude. Fucking the new Everybody's Golf has that, where you actually pick the grass and throw it up in the air and you can see the grass move to see how much the wind is blowing.
Next, let me get more granular control over the green speeds in the game when I'm setting up my matches and my society rounds. We have this fancy slider for green speeds in the designer. Let's just go ahead and move that over to the gameplay side. Next, this was a big request for me on the 25 wishlist video. We still did not get it. Please let us pull the pin out from off the green. Boy, it'd be nice if we could.
I actually think this is something that is going to be in 2K27. We brought this up in Scottsdale. The response that we got at Scottsdale was, what button would we put it on?
It's like, I don't give a shit. Put it on a fucking button. I don't care. You have to hold left trigger and give me a whole nother map of buttons. Like, it is something that, it is something that I think, again, it's like, it comes back to, you know, how many people are you creating that for? But there have been so many times where I've put off the green and it hits the pin and doesn't drop, but if the pin wasn't there, it would have went in.
Pull the pin out, wouldn't it? Okay, next. This is kind of a little thing, and honestly, if they didn't change this, I'm not gonna like be too disappointed. But they added a putting celebration animation to this game, and in my opinion, it's cool.
It gives away the outcome. I hope that's what he's gonna say, because I completely agree. It gives away the outcome completely.
But I think it happens way too frequently, and it happens way too early. Like,
I agree, Trigun. Yeah. You could do it on the green already. Just make that the same button that you take it off the green.
Putts that are like 45 feet out, and I touch the ball, and it rolls like 10 to 15 feet, and my guy starts celebrating. Now, again, on one hand, it's kind of cold, and I get it, but I would rather have the drama of if the putt's going to go in or not. I don't want you to get rid of it because I think it's cool, but I just think it's too often.
Maybe do it after.
All right, and finally, please give us the ability to save preset difficulty settings. So that way,
oh my God, I've been
I can
asking
just
for this
tab
forever
over
too.
And select a universal difficulty anytime I'm starting a match with my friends.
Yes.
All right, here we go into the My Player section. There is so much here to unpack. I think generally they did a really good job improving the aspects of this, moving from 23 over to 25. The archetypes were improved.
I agree.
The attribute system was a big improvement. They introduced a number of new attributes, also kind of a floor ceiling approach, which was great. They added the shot types. They actually executed those for the most part great. And then you have the improvement on the club fittings. So I thought every part of that was improved.
I agree.
From 2K23.
I agree.
But what's kind of odd with the whole system is the parts are actually better than the sum of those parts. I think one of the reasons why they continue to fail at what they're trying to accomplish here in the last couple of games is not, you know, what they're doing within those parts, but it's really the philosophy that's driving it. HB, this power fantasy thing that you have going on, it is not working. So I beg.
I also agree with this, but this is a difference of opinion of between players and devs, because I think even in NBA 2K, like, you have strengths and weaknesses. They have gone more the route of ultimate power fantasy, where you can use every shot type and fucking get your attributes now to the point where you can get your attributes, like 5 of them to 99. I don't like it personally.
You to just please get out of your own way. Let's scrap this power fantasy thing, everybody doesn't need to turn into Tiger Woods. They don't need access to everything. They don't need to be great at everything.
Because again, it makes the archetypes still feel the same in the end. That was a worry that I had, and the worry kind of came true just because of how many boosts you get through the fitting system.
And they don't need every shot type in the bag. I just think that turns this into a boring game. And it's evident because this plays at its best in the first 15 hours of your My Player build.
I agree with this.
It's crazy.
100%.
This actually gets worse the more you play and the more you level up.
Yeah, like ranked and everything was so much better when everybody was still building out their characters because there were differences in those characters. The longer you play, it comes back to the thing I was saying, like the longer you play, the worse the game gets, just because the systems kind of fall apart a little bit.
Because you start losing the unique aspects of the archetypes. Everybody just funnels into being Prime Tiger.
Yeah.
Time to start leaning into uniqueness and individuality and start making this archetype system actually matter. If you're not going to do any of that, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, nope, we want to do the power fantasy thing, just save your entire dev team a lot of time and trouble and work. Don't even make archetypes because they don't fucking matter if everybody is going to funnel in and be the same golfer in 10 months anyway. If you do want to just relinquish that and you want to get rid of that and you want to make this game incredible, then here are some suggestions that I have to help improve this entire system that you have. Because I honestly don't think you're too far away from something really, really special here. Number one, when it comes to the archetypes, I like the archetypes. They are very unique. And the goal here is that they should just play more unique from level 60 to level 99. I love the idea of how.
Do you think the current system is better than 2K23, where everyone was basically identical? Instead of having a powerhouse, be good at flop shots. They should be able to. They should be able to do them, but make them hard. Boy, in the end, I feel like 2K23 and 2K25 feel pretty similar. It's just 2K25 now has shot types because we're now getting in because the last, what is the last stage? Plus 12 for each stat. I think right now I'm on plus 10, and I think I have 4 or 5 at 99. I think I can get 4 at 99. And not only that, but I have access to all the shot types. So it's like, and some of the shot types though are so worthless, like they mean nothing. They suck as a shot type. They don't help you on the course. They don't make you better in the game, that you end up seeing people pick just the same exact shot types, which in totality just makes the game feel like it did in 2K23, where everybody is the exact same, but now you just have shot types. Like the system, I think, played really well in the first couple of months, but then as people started to get like leveled up and you know, shot types were started to get unlocked, it kind of fell into the same problem that they had in 2K23, where everything feels exactly the same. My technician and my shot shaper and my magician, they play completely the same to each other with very slight differences. And this is something that we brought up again, like at Scottsdale too. But I do think that it is just a differing opinion on philosophy. Me, Seamount, you know, like Apex, a lot of the guys that went to Scottsdale, or even some of the hardcore players that play the game now, we want diversity. Whereas HB and 2K are more looking at it as creating an ultimate power fantasy, creating a golfer that can do everything, be the best at everything. Everything is unlocked to them. You know, there may be slight differences in the attributes at the end of the day. I think negligible amount of differences in the attributes at the end of the day. But, you know, just you have the ultimate golfer. Whereas we want something not that. And I think it's a difference in philosophy, and I don't know if that's something that they are going to waver from. Maybe they do. I don't know.
You guys have all the attributes.
Because I'm telling you, we got a fuckload of pushback on that when we brought it up, talking to everybody out to at Scottsdale. I don't know if that's something that's in the cards. I think it's just a differing view of philosophy.
Set up, this like floor and ceiling tug of war thing. I think it's a fantastic design. The only real way to improve this is to make sure all of those attributes actually matter. As it sits now, there's basically 5 that you don't really have to invest in.
Yeah.
Recovery, rhythm, transition, putt contact.
So I will disagree a little bit here. Recovery, I agree. Rhythm, I agree for full shots, but on the short game, rhythm is very important. But you can just do rhythm and do your transition in your specific clubs that you have. So your wedges and your putter. So having it here, it doesn't really matter as much. And putt contact and putt path, I don't think are worth it whatsoever. I don't think they're nearly as punishable as they need to be.
And putt path. So we need to make those.
I'm at fucking 40, I think, at each for putt contact and putt path. And like I can miss a putt by 6% closed, and like it doesn't affect it as much as I think that it should.
Is more important and more impactful. So that way it is a lot tougher to decide, you know, which side of that column we're putting that point in. Next is all the shot types, right? The shot types, I think, ended up being a really cool idea. I was happy that you pulled that from the EA golf game. And I think for the most part, you executed it really, really well. I will say, though, that
there's too many.
The pick shot and the super flop, I think you really need to kind of reevaluate some of these go-to.
That comes back to archetypes, like super flop, pick shot. Like I personally think those should be locked to an archetype to make that archetype actually feel worth it. Having it be that everybody can get it no matter what they are, it deletes the idea of archetypes. To me, it does.
Shots, because they end up breaking a lot of what makes the game great. A lot of what would bring about creativity.
Don't get me started on having the fucking shot types in the clubhouse pass. Nope, don't do that. I know might do it again. Please don't.
From the player.
Also, another thing I was thinking of too, how shitty would it be that, you know, you have all these like shot types, right? That you got all the clubhouse pass, and then starting the next game, these shot types aren't available, and then you just put them back into the clubhouse pass.
And so when you have so many of the same types of shots, I think you have to look at bringing those all together. Like, we don't need...
That would make this game Ultimate Team.
3 different flops. We don't need a...
I agree. We do not need 3 different flops. What sucks is a lot of this problem was solved with, you know, adjusting your loft and your attack angle and everything in past games. Like, you could create kind of your own shots through that system. Then they brought in all the shot types, which kind of made that system a little bit more obsolete.
Fairway stinger and a regular stinger off the tee. When you start having fairway...
there should just be a stinger.
versions of a shot type, you have too many fucking shot types.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
We need to bring those in. However, I think the bigger key here isn't that you have too many shot types. I think that you have access to too many of them at once.
Yeah.
One of the big problems
this
here
is something we
your
brought up
500 skill points. So I think that was where you lost the battle.
Something
right?
we brought up
too.
too.
300 skill points, we'd be having a totally different conversation.
I agree, CR. Some of them are good, though.
I think what you have to do is you have to either limit the points available to the player when they're building.
This comes back, Ultimate Power Fantasy, not Ultimate Power Fantasy. It's which side of the coin are they, or do they want to be on?
Their archetype / my player. The other couple of ways you can maybe approach this is you...
Exactly. That's what I think, too. I think having all these shot types takes out of the creativity that this game thrived on for, 10 years? Longer than that.
Decide that there are a handful of shot types that are exclusive to each archetype. That way, when you're using the powerhouse, maybe you don't even have access to flop shot, for instance.
That might be a little bit too much. Maybe not having access to like the super flop or long flop. That makes sense. Oh, he's kind of done that. I think he misspoke. Yeah, if you choose powerhouse and you can't do a flop shot, like that would suck a little bit.
Or the pick shot. Or if you're the greenskeeper, you don't have access to the power drive. So if you kind of wall certain shot types off, you create a lot more of a unique environment. You create different...
I also think some of these suck ass. Texas wedge sucks ass. Lag putt sucks ass. These are things that aren't really needed because you could just do them as a putt. I think that these are redundant. Texas wedge, lag putt, and a regular putt, all redundant. Green Raider, I think it is good in here. Runner, never use it. Just because there are so many other shot types that are much better. I can create a runner with other shot types just by removing spin off of it. So it's like, some of these shot types I do think are just worthless because other shot types are available that supersede them. Texas wedge, lag putt, like why would I put points into those when I can just use a putt? I know that the lag putt gives you a little bit more of a little bit more on like your transition, and Texas wedge gives you better accuracy when you're off the green. It's either not enough or you're not punished enough for not using those. And again, I also just feel like they're redundant. I think just making, when you're off the green, the putt just becomes a Texas wedge, but it's called a putt. So I do think that there needs to be a once-over on these shots. If I'm doing a punch shot, why the ever-living fuck would I do a choked punch shot? Like, it's just a punch shot that just gets lower, I guess. And, you know, in theory, it would give me more accuracy, but I would have to then put points into that. So the points seem also wasted. Bump and run, in theory, bump and run is great, but pitch shot, lob shot, chips in most instances, all better shot choices because I can get him closer to the hole than I can with a bump and run. In real life, yes, there are times that you would use a bump and run. In this game, obsolete. Tie spinner, because of the physics bug, that is also obsolete. And they made some changes to it, good changes to it. Knockdown, I'm personally a person that thinks the knockdown is, again, just a worthless shot type. I think if I did a once-over here, I think choked punch, power approach, power pick, separating these out from a tee shot and a fairway stinger, also I think is obsolete, so I'd remove one of those. Runner is another one that just doesn't get used just because it's not a good shot. Tie spinner, bump and run. A lob is essentially just a pitch shot. You've just added height to it. I guess we'll just keep it for now. Long flop, why? Lag putt, Texas wedge. Like, I think there's 8 or 9 shot types in here that are just not good. Bump and run and runner in the game are just chip and pitch with, yeah. So it's the bump and run and the runner, those are, instead of using a wedge, you're using like higher clubs. So it's like a 5 iron, 6 iron, 7 iron. But there's probably 10 shots in here that you could just do without.
Puzzle pieces that you need to go from tee to green. That way you may have reasons to play certain courses with one archetype and other courses with other archetypes. Or maybe you just end up switching around based off of how good you are at the game, your actual personal strengths and weaknesses. So that's one way to do it. Another way, which I think...
And it also, another thing for like newer players too, is they're investing points in all of these shots that are just bad comparatively to other shots that they could take.
Kind of a cool middle ground would be you keep the point system in place, but how you govern all of this is the skills that are on archetype. So you still have to bucket the skills into a certain archetype. The ones that are on archetype are cheaper. The ones that are off archetype are more expensive. So that way you still have a 500 skill pool to work with, but depending on the archetype you choose, certain shot types will be cheaper and certain shot types will be way more expensive. So I think
I had the idea of, why don't you get like NBA 2K has like the, I don't know, stretch big man, like a mixture between two. Like I'm a powerhouse greenskeeper, where I've blended powerhouse and greenskeeper together to make a powerhouse greenskeeper, where I can hit the ball far and I can putt really good and everything else in between kind of suck ass at. I think that would be also good too, where you lock out everything from everybody except for, you can choose like your side hustle kind of thing. Make like a blended character.
One of those two would be amazing. It would.
I think that's a great middle ground, because I am of the ilk, the people that think that you shouldn't have access to everything. You just shouldn't have access, because if we're talking about a video game, like you just shouldn't have access to everything. There should be some positives and negatives to your decisions. And I think like blending with another golfer would be good.
Change everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, flex. Yeah, exactly. Like you're blending, you know? You're a blended archetype. My first choice was Powerhouse, but I'm like, man, I kind of want the Green Raider, and I've blended with a Green Raider. Everything else is locked out to me.
And I think it would make this game infinitely better. The last part of this is the fittings. I actually like how you guys did the fittings, because the last few iterations you guys have done were overly complicated.
Yeah.
So I love that you simplified them down.
I agree.
Really easy to understand.
For the most part,
gems,
easy to understand.
+1, +2, +3, etc.
I do think there needs to be better tutorials all around. But yeah, it's a lot easier to understand than where they were in 23.
And the only real feedback I'll give, and I think the way you make it even better, is there has to be a balance of negativity when you add a positive impact on the fittings. Because again, you just can't have it where you're just using it to fill deficiencies in the archetype.
Because that's all dude, it comes back to Ultimate Power Fantasy. It's just the attribute points and the fittings and how much you get from each, I think are just too great. Because that's all it turns into. All the fittings turn into is increasing my deficiency as much as possible. Which brings it back to the Ultimate Power Fantasy, which puts us into the same situation that we were in 2K23.
My recommendation for the fittings are just kind of keep it where it is, but add a negative impact. So let's just use the example of you've got power connected to contact. So if you want to add a power gem, let's say it's +4, well then.
So that's what they did, is I'm pretty sure they did that. Didn't they do that in 2K23 somewhat? Because you wanted to also not make it confusing for people too.
And you're going to be -2 on contact. If you add a power gem that's +8, well, then you're going to be -4 on contact. I think this is a really, really good way to add balance, to add strategy, to add a lot of variety.
I say hard cap, but I think that they should hard cap stuff. I think there should be hard caps on things. I think a lot of other games do it, and I think that it creates a lot better of a competitive balance and for people to make choices.
In terms of how people are going to build out their My Player using their archetypes and the fittings.
Oh man, this is going to be another crash out city for me.
Well, the economy in PGA 2K25 has been a black eye since launch. Now, to be fair,
Seema was
there's a couple things that are positive. The clubhouse passes not expiring, I think, is very
huge dub, dude. Every single fucking game made on this planet of Earth that has battle passes should fucking have this.
Consumer friendly, and I love it. And the
Halo Infinite was the first game that I saw it in too.
Rebirth thing, I love the idea. On paper, it's great. But the value of it all is stunted by the power fantasy philosophy that you guys employ.
Absolutely.
When creating the My Players.
And this comes back to the more you play the game, the worse it gets. Just because the systems fall apart the more hours you put into the game.
The rest of the economy, complete dog shit and disrespectful.
Oh, I was not ready for that. Oh my god, that fucking caught me off guard. Holy shit. That took me for a loop there. It's not even that he's wrong either. It's just that fucking, we just went through like most of it was like, you know, definitely like plus and minus, but holy fuck, I'm gonna run that back because that got me good.
The power fantasy philosophy that you guys employ when creating the My Players. The rest of the economy, complete dog shit and disrespectful. The VC nerf at launch told the community everything that we needed to know about your guys' intentions. And since then, the progression has felt increasingly tuned around spending pressure.
That actually hurt my chest a little bit, dude. I laughed way too hard, way too fast. Holy fuck.
because, hey, the line must go up, right? And
The line always goes up, man. Line don't go up, game shit. All right? That's the way publishers see it. Line must go up. Line always up. This is the 2026 version of I award no points and may God have mercy on your soul.
look, I get it. The industry is brutal. Studios are closing.
Yeah.
Layoffs happen.
Yeah.
I want HB to succeed, and I want
Sure.
the devs to stay employed.
Right?
But you gotta
Completely
respect
agree.
your players in the process.
Yep.
It's too expensive, it's too grindy, and it lacks synergy. You offer multiple golf bag loadouts, but you make owning multiple golf bags too expensive to justify.
Yep.
You promote multiple
God, dude, that's another thing that is just it's so frustrating, where it's like something that we've been asking for fucking years, and they finally bring it in and then make it inaccessible.
players and a rebirth system, but club leveling isn't even universal. So every new build feels like
And so I did ask about like there was a reasoning behind this. They like one of the things that people have asked for is to be able to play essentially like two My Careers on the same console kind of thing. So there was a reason behind this where it's like they wanted to make it so that like if it's a father and son, you know, the father can play his My Career, the son can play their My Career, and they don't like share anything with that. You know, they don't share any of the clubs. They don't share any of the progression. Like there was kind of like a reasoning behind that, but it fucked over like everybody else who didn't have that.
like starting over. You let us level up our clubs each season, but those levels get increasingly more expensive with no meaningful
And these are 5, by the way, when you have legendary clubs. It's another thing that I do not and have not ever understood is why the legend editions cost more Evo tools. So I think the reasoning was that you don't lose the fittings, right? But I mean, fittings are handed out like fucking candy. I think I've bought fittings like 3 times in 600 hours. So it's like the fittings don't matter. You're punishing people for getting the legendary edition of the club. Why would you make it more expensive? Why? It's like those are the things. The economy just falls apart. It just falls apart. Yeah, if you want to do multiple golfers, multiple bags, like test things out, yeah, it is thousands of dollars in VC to do that.
explanation as to why.
Did the new clubs make it that a lot easier though? New clubs to set higher levels. So I would say probably around like this diamond and pink diamond. I think that they're always gonna give a boost because they're making your stats better. So like there's always gonna be a boost, but the cost in VC needed to get that boost, I think becomes diminished at like amethyst or diamond. Like would it be worth it to get all the way to Tiger's Eye? Sure. Of course, because it does give you more stats. Like it does make your character fundamentally better than it was in the previous one, but the cost associated with this not fucking worth it one bit.
You sell us on the Clubhouse Pass, but each season's grind costs more and more and more, and the rewards do not scale. That's not progression.
That's the other thing too. The Clubhouse Pass, like you don't get any more Evo tools. The Evo tools have stayed the same from the first Clubhouse Pass to the newest Clubhouse Pass. Like the rewards that you get have not scaled whatsoever with the scaling that you are doing with the actual upgrades for the clubs. So every new upgrade that has come out, you're getting further and further and further behind. As I said, the economy is just really bad. It's just really bad.
That's friction. In a healthy game economy, systems feed each other.
Yeah.
More builds should encourage experimentation.
Yeah.
Experimentation should reward.
And dude, I've asked, comes back to we've asked for multiple golfers, we've asked for multiple bags, we've asked for all these things, and they introduce them, but they lock it out behind an absolute asinine paywall. Or, you know, people say, go fucking play the skins match, you know, on Pro-Am. Like, no, I don't want to fucking do that. Shut the fuck up. I want to play the game and I want to be rewarded for it. At 600 hours of game time, I should be able to afford some things in the shop and also upgrade all of my clubs to the highest level. It's either I spend money or I play the game. I haven't spent the money. I've played a fuckload of the game, and I still can't afford upgrading my golf clubs and shit to the max. How many hours do I need to play?
Progression should respect time invested, and loyalty should feel valuable. Instead, the people who spend the most time in your game, the most loyal players, are the ones who feel the most pressure. Because the deeper you go, the more expensive everything becomes.
Yeah.
That's completely backwards.
Yeah.
The players who are carrying your entire ecosystem should feel empowered, not squeezed. For 2K27, make it less expensive and fix the lack of synergy. Make club leveling.
Can we talk about fucking a 2K black belt as a premium option in the Clubhouse Pass? Fuck me.
Universal across builds. Make multiple golf bags affordable enough to justify using them. Scale rewards if you're going to scale prices.
Yes.
And stop increasing costs without increasing value. If you build a system that respects investment, the players will invest. But if you build a system that escalates pressure like this one, then you're going to see your retention numbers plummet just like they did in 2K25. This series has the gameplay foundation. Now it needs an economy that actually works with it. The content creators in this community shouldn't be the ones protecting your players from your greed. The people at HB and 2K should be doing that.
But it's a company and it's a business. They ain't gonna protect shit, dude. The higher ups aren't gonna protect shit because it comes back. Line always has to go up, dude. If line don't go up, people lose jobs. It's not gonna be 2K higher ups that are gonna protect the player base from money. Like, it's gonna come down to the community and content creators and, you know, people like that voicing their opinions and causing pressure for changes to be made, because the fucking 2K isn't gonna change that. They want money. It's a business, and it's a billions of dollars of business.
All of you need to be better.
That's one way to end it out. Fuck me. Holy shit.
All right, next, I would love some additional swing animations for our My players.
Yeah.
Just having the two types is simply not enough. So, worst case scenario, you have the pros in the game. We should have access to every single pro's swing in the game.
Yeah.
And ideally, you guys make a number of, I don't know, 5 additional kind of custom ones that we can pick through and utilize for our My player. Hell, you could even make it a part of the rivalry system, right? You beat Tiger, you get his swing. This is kind of a small thing, but I think it would be pretty cool. I would like to have varying putting grips. You could do
also, I
cross-handed.
love this idea as well.
The claw grip, or maybe they add tall putters to the game. You know, it's something that's not necessarily needed, but I think it would be a cool touch. I said this in the 2K25 wish list video, but they still need to add a lot more golf bag customizations, right? We need head covers. We need.
I think they are gearing up for that just because of what they've done, like showing the bag more in a lot of instances. I'm pretty sure they're gearing up for this for 2K27.
Straps. We need towels. I also think it would be really cool if they added a patch that would kind of get sewn onto your bag for every single tournament that you won in the career mode. Kind of like how they put stickers on college football helmets. I know it's kind of silly and you don't really see it on tour, but I do think it would be a fun thing, right? You know, you stand up.
Golf Plus does golf bags and covers and everything. They do it so well.
Up and ranked, and you're on the tee box with somebody in a head-to-head, you know, matchmaking game, and then your bag's just.
Do you think the devs watch these kind of videos? A dev literally messaged me in the middle of this. Yes, 100%, 100%.
There with all these patches on it.
I don't know about Seamow because he might have pissed a lot of them off at the beginning of the game cycle. And I've probably pissed him off over the last 7 months, but hey. Hey, dude. Yeah, we actually just talked about that, CR. That player retention is actually a lot better than I thought it was. 2,200 players on Steam as a peak is really good.
I think that would be pretty sweet. Next, I would love to expand all of the caddy customizations. Just let us make a caddy like we do a My Player. Hell, you could even add a bunch of caddy swag into the
I think that's a little bit too much, but
golf shop. I like the new player card options that they added mid-season.
I do too.
Just at this point, I would say add more and then separate them so the logo is different.
And maybe don't add a Top Golf player card that you literally just ripped out of assets as a premium thing that you get in a clubhouse pass.
Than the actual banner. There's been a number of times where I've seen a banner and I've been like, oh man, I love that banner, but I hate that logo and vice versa. So
Also
let's
true.
add those back into 2K27, but let's go ahead and separate those so we can mix and match. I would love some sort of level prestige option. Now, I understand that the My Players have to cap out at whatever level you choose, whether that's 100 or higher than that. But the actual, like, My Player at the top that's, you know, getting all the VC that's universal across My Players, I think it would be fantastic if I could just continue to level up and level up and level up. And then it would be a bonus if you would add prestiging or some sort of cosmetic or vanity items that would kind of correspond to those levels. And finally here, I hate that I have to keep asking for this, but can we please get more?
It's going to be colors. He's going to ask for green. Are you ready? I already know. Calling it right now. He wants some fucking better colors for the My Player.
More neon green.
I know my boy. All right. I know my boy.
Items in the golf shop. I have like 2.
I fucking do it. He's been asking for it for so much. For so long.
All right, let's jump into the modes now. First, let's start with Top Golf.
Hey! Wow! Hey! This is proprietary fucking editing that I did here, buddy. Okay? Hey, you're not stealing this from me. What the fuck? He's stealing my mojo. Yep. Ah! At least I got a shout out.
All right, next is adding TGL.
I agree though. Top Golf's worthless. It shouldn't be in there. I hope that their fucking whatever thing that they had is up. Like, obviously they're not doing anything with it. They don't want to do anything with it. They're just using it as a way to publicize the game at launch. Like, it's just Top Golf is worthless.
All right, next is adding TGL. I think this is a match made in heaven. There's so
I don't.
much they could pull from this. It makes way too much sense. Number one, they're already using Unity 6, so you can pair that up with the course designer in the game and have our amazing course designer community.
But I guess, like, the question that I have is, like, why? Like, why do TGL when you can just go out and play the fucking course? You know?
Create courses for it. They could even launch with some sort of course design contest, and the winner gets their course.
But, like, why? Like, maybe I'm missing something. Yeah, maybe I'm missing something. But it's like, TGL is essentially you're playing the course, but just on a sim, right? And it's like, so what? You're gonna, yeah, exactly. Play a sim inside of a sim, inside of a sim, inside of another sim while we're simming a sim. I think that TGL, it just doesn't fucking make sense to me.
Or their whole, in this case, put into TGL season next year. Next.
Like what? So this is what it's gonna look like? You know? Like, instead of standing on the course, playing the course, I'm going to be standing here, hitting the ball into a screen?
You could pull.
Why? Why?
Pull the TGL stuff. You could create it and add it to the career mode. I know that would be kind of odd because you're playing a video game inside of a video game, but I think this would be cool, unique.
Yes. He just said it. I'm gonna have words with him. Dude. I don't understand why.
Content that you could add to the career mode, especially have it tie into maybe if you still have the.
Well, like, dude, okay, like, even we're looking at this, right?
Because
like, even we're looking at this, like, they're hitting it into here and then it's flying down. Why don't you just make that, just have this be a course?
Video game inside of a video game. But I think this would be cool, unique content.
Just let designers make this a course
that you could add to the career mode, especially have it tie into maybe if you still have the follower count, you know, maybe you have to have a higher follower count and then you start to get asked to be on one of the teams. Maybe you're subbing at first and then you start to be a mainstay on one of the teams. But if they can find a way to implement that.
I completely disagree, and I hope to God they don't do this. Like, you might as well go play fucking GTA 5 and go golfing.
Of the bells and whistles into the career mode, I think that would be awesome.
I don't know, since it's like branded, like it might be something that they do.
Awesome. And the third part of the TGL stuff, I think there would be a really cool mode that they could conjure up where you actually use the real courses in the game, but it's just a TGL inspired mode that you could implement. Finally, leaning into Divot Derby. Implement that with all of the bells and whistles into the career mode. I think that would be awesome. And the third part of the TGL stuff, I think there would be a really cool mode.
I'm not disrespecting GTA 5 golf. I'm just saying you're playing golf inside of a video game. Like, that's exactly what you would be doing here. You would be playing golf. You'd be playing a golf sim inside of a golf sim. It doesn't make sense.
That they could conjure up where you actually use cool mode that they could. And the third part of the TGL stuff, I think there would be a really cool mode that they could conjure up where you actually use the real courses in the game, but it's just a TGL inspired mode that you could.
I don't even know what he's trying to say right now.
Cool mode that implement that with all of the bells and whistles into the career mode. I think that would be awesome. And the third part of the TGL stuff, I think there would be a really cool mode that they could conjure up where you actually use the real courses in the game, but it's just a TGL inspired mode that you could implement. Finally leaning into
I don't know what he means by
Derby.
that.
I mean, I feel like this is just...
Oh, you mean the thing that they introduced a long time ago and then just never did anything with it? You talking about that one?
This mode is waiting to be incredible, and you guys...
Super Battle Golf has already showed that it could be great.
Just kind of
plain and simple.
And you have yet to iterate on it. I think this is the game.
He's trying to say just use the actual in-game courses and display them on the fake in-game screen. Huh.
2K27, where you have to lean into Divot Derby. There's so much that you can do with the game mode. Number one, you have to take it out of the Pro-Am purgatory.
This still pisses me off because they made Divot Derby worse.
Sucks in there. It's one of the main reasons I do not play it. So either put it into a pro playlist or...
No, don't even do that. Nope, don't even give them that such limited amount of things that they could do. They need to open up full player lobbies where I can create my own thing, play it at any fucking course I want, and I can have full player lobbies. I think just making it a pro playlist is so little that it doesn't even matter because it's going to have the same amount of playing as it does now on pro that it does in Pro-Am, unless they do ranked. But they need to do Divot Derby where I can actually have full lobbies, not just 4 fucking people.
Or add a ranked mode for Divot Derby.
Yes.
Or just simply give us private lobbies so that way we can set up a game of Divot Derby with our own settings and we can play the way we want to play. We can play on Master, we can play on Legend, we can do whatever we want to do. We can control the courses we're playing on, the conditions of those courses.
Yeah.
Just give us the private lobbies, and that way we can do what we want.
Full private lobbies, not 4-person lobbies.
Increase the lobbies, right? I know we're doing 20 players now. Let's do 30. Let's do 40. Let's do 100. I think it would be...
That's never going to... Has Seamount played with more than 3 people in any mode on these servers? See? Because it's not that great. It's not that great.
Be a lot of fun to just...
If we do fucking 20, you know, when I play Divot Derby, it does handle it. But if we're getting into the 30s, 40s, 50s, 100 people, bro, that'll melt down. That'll melt down so fast.
Lean into Divot Derby. Let's really...
They do need to lean into Divot Derby, though, because so many people enjoyed it. They just didn't do anything with it.
Make it cook. All right, next is Ranked Tours. I really only have 2 things to say, because I think the structure and everything and how it works, I think it's pretty solid.
It is fun!
Number one, you got to make sure the merit system actually works properly.
Yeah.
Because it's never really done that yet.
No.
And my second point is that I would love to...
They need to do more events in here. Like I said, they did one for Ryder Cup. It wasn't actually the Ryder Cup. You know, it was Nations thing or whatever they said it was. But they need to do more like actual events, like cool events in here.
To see once the merit system actually works, then you would have specific leaderboards and events just for your tier. So if I'm birdie 3 and I go and play, there's just a specific birdie 3 event.
I agree with this. This is actually feedback I just gave to 2K because I've been seeing a lot of it in my comments of people joining and playing the game, and they go and play the daily amateur, and all of the scores in there are 7,000 under par. So they're like, well, what the fuck is the point of even playing this? Like, I just started. I'm not going to shoot 25 trillion under par in this tournament. What the fuck is the point? I think that these things should be locked out to people at a certain level. Once you reach a certain level, you are locked out from playing the daily amateur and the daily pro. Like, if you want to get to a higher level, you can only play the daily master, buddy, or the weekly master, because it silos off where the best players in the game can just dominate across every single fucking tournament that they play, and it turns people away from it. Yeah, I think having like VC that you get would also be good. You got to watch out for that though, because then people could do private lobbies and farm VC, which they have to watch out for. Yeah, I agree, CR. I think no pro-am, like no daily amateur for people above a certain rank. And honestly, once you get to fucking Eagle or Condor, I think pro should be locked out from you too. Yeah, I think that this is just their first iteration. I hope to God that they have a second iteration of it. But if they just release this again with nothing else changed in it, like they've done with a lot of other modes that they've released, fuck me, man. It's gonna be bad. Yeah, the iterations that they've done haven't been at the level that I think that they should be. I think that they wanted to do this though to like compete with TGC Tours. And I think having it like what Seamount's saying, where you're facing only birdie players or only eagle players or something like that, I think that is a good methodology, you know, like a good method, maybe not methodology, but a good method for siloing people off and making the ranked tours a little bit more competitively challenging, where you're playing people at certain ranks that you are, stuff like that.
But nobody else can if they're outside of birdie 3 or outside of the...
So many people will cry because there's people playing Prime that hate the sideways angle swing and would never want to move up. Sucks for them. Fucking sucks for them, dude.
The birdie tier, and I can just play that one event on birdie on whatever difficulty they choose. That would be cool. It's a lot like what TDC Tours does, where it's like they flight you in terms of, you know, how good you are and your skill level, and then you only play against those people in your skill level. So that would be the next step. What they have, the foundation of everything, I think is actually awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance, CR. I think that if they're looking to bring more people in, having it the way that it is now just turns new players away. Yeah, I think the rewards are also bad in ranked tours. I completely agree.
I love that they have the different difficulties and all those things, and they have the daily and the weekly.
I mean, this is literally just taking essentially what EA did and then just add it like another step with leaderboards.
That's what I would want to see them do. So fix the merit system, and then using the merit system that actually works, create specific exclusive events for your level that only...
Also, I think that the merit system does work. I just think that the UI is bugged. Like, it is giving you or taking away the proper amount of merits, but it's not showing it correctly.
You and your other leveled peers can join. All right, next is the ranked matchmaking. My number one ask for PGA Tour 2K27.
Wait, did you say that's number one?
Matchmaking. Only you and your other leveled peers can join. All right, next is the ranked matchmaking. My number one ask for PGA Tour 2K27 is to please add a master queue to this.
Not gonna fucking happen. I'm gonna call it right now, dude. I'm gonna call it right now, and I hope the devs want to prove me wrong. Not gonna fucking happen. They're gonna keep it on pro, and that's gonna be the hill that they die on, dude. I'm gonna call it right now.
Even if it's just only for solos. I mean,
I think they could have used 2K25 to gauge interest. I think that they could have added, try it out for a season, right? Master swing difficulty. Open up another playlist. of master swing difficulty. I think that they should take a page out of MLB The Show's book. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but I like MLB The Show's model where you increase in difficulty the higher you get up in ranking. I don't think they like that idea. I think that it's actually split within the dev team of what they should do, but I don't think that they're going to change it.
Ideally, it's solos and duos, but even just a solo master queue would go such a long way to break up.
Yeah, I actually like the idea of you start them on Pro-Am, then people first getting in the game, right? So you first get the game. I also don't think that you should start people on Perfect Swing, personally. But you start them on Pro-Am, like that's where they're at. That's what they're playing at when they first load into the game. They're playing on Pro-Am. And then that's where they start in their ranked journey. If they want to hop into ranked and do it, they can. They can start in Pro-Am. Then when they get to a certain rank, you move them to Pro. And you make all of this viewable to them too, where you have different silos. You tell them what's going to be changing at the different silos so that they know what's coming. Then you move them to Pro. You get to another rank, you get to Master. You get to like Eagle or Condor, you move them to Legend. And you increase the difficulty of the conditions of the course. That's the way that MLB The Show does it. You start on a very low level and you work your way up as you go up. Some people don't like that about MLB The Show. You know, they don't like that, you know, they're playing on Hall of Fame. Once they get there, they usually will lose games. I shouldn't say usually, but those people will then lose games to get back to where they want to play at. But I think that for MLB The Show, that is a very small minority of people. And I think the majority of people enjoy the system that is played on. I, for one, absolutely enjoy the system because I know when I get to a certain level that I'm going to be playing at a higher difficulty. And that puts me into the mindset of practicing that difficulty and getting used to that difficulty so that I can go and play on that difficulty. I think that they could have used 2K25 as a testing ground, even just adding in a master playlist. I think it could have been a great testing ground. Now we'll never know until, I guess, 2K27 comes out, and we'll see what they do. I think they enjoy inclusion of it being pro across the board, but I'm with you. I love challenging folks to not settle there. It brings more attention to daily masters and so forth. I agree. And I think, I mean, I understand that the inclusion factor is nice, but it also doesn't include like some of the best players of the game too, because they don't want to go fucking play on pro. Like I'm one of them. I haven't touched ranked. I played a lot of ranked in 2K23. When 2K25 came out and there was nothing changed in ranked, like I played this ranked. The rank that you see here, I've already played it. I played it in 2K23 for hundreds of matches. I'm not going to do it again for 2K25 because nothing has changed with it. Exclusion within the inclusion? Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, that is what has happened. It might include the most people, but I think that retention could also be better with a model of increased difficulty because it keeps people engaged with wanting to get better at something. Like the difference between pro and master isn't that big. When you move somebody from pro to master, like their misses are just going to be a little bit worse and things of that nature, but then they'll improve on the game. And I personally, I think for me, that improvement feels good. Like when you move from pro to master and you're playing on master and you're getting good at master, like that feels good. But I don't know. I might be just a weird cookie. I mean, I am a weird cookie, but
what turns into a very logjam top of the leaderboard, the ranked, it also just makes playing that mode tough because
it's funny how 2K went. We need to see data with VC, but with any other experimentation on the online modes, they do nothing that could give them data to evaluate. Yep. Makes you wonder if they actually needed to see data for the VC.
Because it just turns into who doesn't birdie a hole loses.
That's exactly what this is. It is. It's who doesn't birdie a hole. If you miss a birdie, you lose.
And
I think that Legend is a big jump for the first time people going from Master to Legend. Yeah, I think shot setup. Yeah, the difficulty options, and maybe they could change the difficulty options to be a little bit more inclusive, right? Across Pro to Master to Legend. Like maybe they could do that, or they could have a specific online like settings that they do if they want to keep the inclusivity while also increasing difficulty.
I just feel like
is there a wish to increase the society membership, brother? We fucking 5 of us asked for that in Scottsdale. Hopefully it happens at 2K27.
Like golf gets boring when it's just perfect shots, perfect putts, off we go. The other part too, please just ban chipping from greens. I honestly don't see it as much in this game as I did in 23, so that is nice. But I think you should just ban it in ranked. If you're chipping on a green, you should go die in a fire. I would also love
Jesus Christ! What the fuck, dude? Holy shit. If you're chipping on a green, you should just die in a fire. Holy fuck, man. God damn, that's the second one. I was not ready for that. What's the payout scheme in societies? That's another thing they need to change, where it's like the top fucking 3% of people get paid.
Just streamline all the button pushing between holes and rounds and everything.
Oh my god, don't even get me fucking started. He 100% right with this. Like, I finish a round and I have to press 17. I have to hit the fucking X button, A button, whatever you want to call it, whatever controller you're using, fucking 35 times to end the round.
Like, just
make one screen with everything on it. This is how all the clubs went up. This is the XP that you got. This is the VC you got. This is the things that you unlocked.
Go faster. I don't need to hit buttons. I don't want to talk to people randomly. Like,
And in rank 2, you have to fucking wait for everybody to hit the X button before you can go on. And dude, it's such a mess.
Get through everything as quickly as possible. The final thing, this is something I actually asked for in 2K25's wishlist video as well, but I would love for you to add a Tiger rank above our current Condor ranking. All right, next, this is
a Tiger rank above Condor. I guess my pushback on that would be why? I guess that'd be the question that I asked. Like, why? Like, it's just another rank. I don't know if adding it does anything. Like, eventually you have to stop adding ranks. I do still hate that they cap out the ranking. How do you ban chipping on the green when some greens have a bunker in the middle of it? Yeah, but so the ranked playlist is a curated playlist. So like you can add in specific exceptions to different courses. Like, it's not like you're playing, any course. It's a curated list of courses. So like you could definitely add in like different exceptions to different courses if there are cases where there is like a bunker in the middle of the green. I don't think there needs to be like a Tiger. Honestly, just rename Condor Tiger, I guess. Like, because Condor is something that is used so fucking rarely in the game of golf that I could see them just removing the name Condor and just making that Tiger.
societies. So I would love to see us raise the total cap for how many we can join. Right now it's at 10. It needs to at least double.
At least. Oh, fucking at least needs to be 20.
There's so many available to us, especially now with the crossplay, that we need access to more than just the 10, so I don't have to keep joining and leaving and joining and leaving those.
Especially for those who create multiple societies.
Next, in terms of running the societies, I would love to be able to add a level cap on not only my society, but also any events that I run within my society. I think it would be kind of a cool twist to say, hey, your My Player can only be level 75 to join this society or join this event. I would also love to be able to disable club fittings.
That would also be really hard because you're going to be getting levels. At level 75, you're going to be getting levels no matter what. I guess you could just make it so you don't spend the attribute points. Have a cap of 75 there. Yeah, that could actually work. Where you just don't spend any of the points and keep it at a 75.
So we can already disable the ball fittings. Now let us also disable the club fittings. And then finally, I would love to just
that's
add
interesting.
more disable club fittings. So
disabling club fittings. So you only play with your 99 overall. You don't get anything extra out of it. Do plat players chip on the green when outside of 75 feet? Sometimes. I think that's actually a solid suggestion too, to make it so no fittings can be used. I don't think they're going to do that though, just because of just where their systems are at. Because like you could do that just by making your My Players actually matter. Where you didn't have to worry about the fittings. If you just made them have hard caps or whatever it might be. Like have your decisions matter. I don't even think the fittings... I think the fittings and everything and the fittings, all of that stuff is only a problem because the My Player is in a place where they want ultimate power fantasy. I think it's band-aids. Like, it's just band-aids to fix the underlying problem, which is you need to make your decisions matter for your My Player.
We can already disable the ball fittings. Now let us also disable the club fittings. And then finally, I would love to just add more team or kind of group event options within the society.
Yes.
Let us run Ryder Cup events.
Yes.
Let us run March Madness.
Can't be Ryder Cup events because they don't have the licensing, but just do something like it.
Madness style match play or alt shot
Yes.
tournaments. Hell, let us run Divot Derby lobbies.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Your societies are here, dude. Let me do an alt shot tournament inside of a society, or a scramble inside of a society, or Divot Derby inside of a society, or fucking anything. Like, these things happen in real life. There are scramble tournaments. There's alt shot tournaments. There's all these tournaments that you can run. Having them be able to be ran inside of a society structure would be fucking spectacular.
Through the society's menu. Next are all the challenges. I actually really loved the challenges that you guys added middle of.
Have they done much with this? I haven't actually went in and looked at it since past like the second one they've done.
The cycle. I think it was season 1, I believe. And how you've been adding on to it, right? With courses and players and all those things.
All right, they have been adding on to it.
Continue to do this. Continue to build up on what you've already done in 2K25 and have it at launch of 2K27. I think it would be great if every single licensed course had its own challenges. Every pro that
that's why I didn't play them, is I just didn't find them that fun. Like, they're okay.
You add into the game had their own challenges, and maybe even you have an archetype specific challenge ladder or challenge specific scenarios that you have for each archetype, especially if hopefully you follow my advice and the archetypes are actually a lot different, play differently, have strengths and weaknesses. I think it would be a lot of fun to have, you know, a powerhouse archetype challenge, a greenskeeper archetype challenge, a sculptor archetype.
I've been asking for that for a while too, CR.
In terms of the challenges themselves, I think you need to add bonuses for when you actually make the shot, because right now if you make a shot it doesn't do anything, and that's kind of a bummer. Also, I like the 3-star rating system, but I think it would be great if you also implemented a layer on top of that that signified which difficulty you finished it on. So you could do like a bronze, silver, gold, platinum or something like that to signify that you not only finished the challenge, but you finish it on maybe pro or master.
You'd have to increase rewards for that too.
Or legend. I would also love to see these challenges get implemented into the weekly day-to-day stuff in the career mode.
Shot looks like mine today.
Just to keep things fresh. It's nice that you can warm up on the course, but it would be cool if, you know, as you're getting to the course, that course then connects to a challenge.
Also, for anybody who's played Golf Plus, you should check out their fucking practice range. It is so good. If they could do a practice range like Golf Plus has, holy shit, that would go so long. That'd go so far.
And then you can hop in on the challenge and actually play the challenges instead of doing the warm-up on that course that week. The number one thing that they have to do to make my career better, to have my career actually take a huge step forward, is they have to add...
I think they're going to take a fucking massive leap forward in my career, personally. Just because they brought on so many of the A guys. I think that they're going to take a pretty sizable jump for my career for next iteration.
AI golfers on the course with you. So you can play with Tiger. You get the rivalry system. It's going to be more amped up by actually having the golfer.
Honestly, the fucking the replay system is really bad.
For hitting the ball with you, playing with you in your group, being able to hit your drive and then watch them hit their drive. I don't think the My Career takes another step forward until this is actually implemented. And there's so many other things they can do off of this, like new modes, Mortal Kombat tower type stuff. Anyway, I digress. The point is that the My Career would be so much better if they actually implemented the AI golfers that played with you. You could watch them hit their balls, make their putts, all those things. I think it adds a unique twist to actually playing the career mode as opposed to just...
Honestly, it's kind of why EA cleared in career. That and their presentation and commentary was fucking top notch.
Jumping in and playing an offline mode.
I talked about this crowd noise, just crowds in general, like more dynamic crowds, not like standing in place, just, you know, like I think there's a lot of things that they could do to make the My Career feel more alive.
Because right now, there's not a whole lot different in terms of the feel and the presentation and just the rhythm of it all. And I think this would be the number one way to improve it. Next, of course, the easy answer.
Not gonna fucking happen.
We want the Masters.
It's not gonna happen. I'll shatter everybody's expectations now. This is not gonna happen.
And we want Augusta.
Not gonna happen.
I also would love for them to add more interactive story elements into the career mode. You know, they went a touch that way with the interview system and all that, but
technically, I don't think that EA has an exclusive license with them. I'm fairly certain they don't. But Augusta and what Augusta wants for licensing rights is so astro-fucking-nomical. I don't think it's ever gonna fucking happen.
love for them to add more interactive story elements into the career mode. You know, they went a touch that way with the interview system and all that, but it was too repetitive. And I think they just need more.
Also, the followers didn't do anything, and this guy ended up just turning him off.
Items like this to add more variety, because the interviews were fine, but doing the interviews every week got boring. And
Not only this, but they tied it to a system where you had to do it for your what ego you had. So you didn't even look at the answers or read the questions or anything. You just chose what ego you had to choose in order to get the most fans.
I just ended up turning them off. Now, if the interviews were like every 5 weeks or every 6 weeks or whatever, then that would feel
Yeah, that actually probably is a good middle ground, though.
much more fresh. So they have to find a way to get other items in between the interviews. Now, what that means or how that is done, not 100% sure. I guess some ideas would be you could add more of the challenges inside of the career mode and maybe have that play off of bringing back maybe some of the old celebs and having those people interact with you within the challenge modes. You could go the TGL route and add a TGL layer to the career mode as well, where
Please just don't add TGL. It just seems so fucking worthless. It feels like Topgolf.
in the first half of the season, you're actually on a TGL team, or maybe as your follower count goes up, there's TGL options. The other thing I want them to do is you've got to be able to cycle through courses each season, especially the majors.
100%.
They've done a great job of adding the 3 of the 4 majors, and they're
But you can't even put them as the major for your career. I'm pretty sure it comes down to licensing issues.
adding the new courses for year 2 to those majors, but you're not going to be able to cycle through them in the career mode. It's just going to be stuck on the same 4 courses moving forward. So I think they need to add a lot more flexibility with cycling those courses, especially when it comes to the majors. All right, there it is, my PGA Tour 2K27 wish list video. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Let me know if there's anything I missed that you guys want to see in the next game. And again, I appreciate all the support on all of my platforms and all my channels, especially my community over on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for everything, and we'll see you in the next video.
Go and give that a like. Put it on in the background. Fucking watch it again. Slam the like button. I'd appreciate it. That was a good video. Good job, theme out.